Hello, hello. I'm not sure if people can see me because I cannot see me. Apologies for the technical difficulties. I will try this again. Oh, it looks like I'm okay. Hello. Hi, everybody. My name is Irene Martinko. I am the Literary and Producing Associate with Perseverance Theater, and I am so excited to welcome you all to this final BAAM event. Oh my gosh, what an exciting month we've had. It has been such an honor to be able to hear from all of these fantastic artists, to be able to learn, to be able to support this work. I've had a great month, and I hope that all of you have been able to enjoy it and support these artists as well. So I'm really excited to be here to chat with the curators, to hear what they've got to say, and to celebrate the end of Black History Month. But of course, Black History Month is not just a month, it is every day of the year. So we are, we're not ever going to be done with BAAM. We love BAAM. So, but first, I want to go ahead and invite you to join me and join Perseverance Theater in acknowledging that we reside on the unceded territories of the Occoquan, colonially known as Douglas and Juneau, Alaska. We also acknowledge that Tlingit peoples have been stewards of this land since time immemorial, and we are grateful for that stewardship and incredible care. We recognize the series of unjust actions that attempted to remove them from their land, which includes forced relocations and the burning of villages. We honor the relationships that exist between Tlingit peoples, their lands, their ancestors, and future generations. We aspire to work toward healing and liberation, recognizing our paths are intertwined in the complex histories of colonization in Alaska. We acknowledge that we arrived here by listening to the people, elders, lessons from the past, and these stories carry us as we weave a healthier world for future generations. We also invite you to join us in honoring and expressing deep gratitude to the Dena'ina of South Central Alaska, where we also conduct our work in what is colonially known as Anchorage, Alaska. Join us in finding ways to recognize, honor, and enact this acknowledgement in meaningful ways. For more than 10,000 years, Alaska Natives have been and continue to be integral to the well-being of Alaska. One cannot be without the other. To love Alaska and call it home requires honoring this truth. Alaska is and always has been a Native place. It is our responsibility to act accordingly. As a creative company, we are committed to learning from, meaningfully including, holding space, and strengthening our work with Alaska Native peoples. We know their brilliance, vibrant languages, cultures, way of life, and relationships with all aspects of their worlds bring knowledges and understanding we cannot know or access without their consent or partnership. We seek to build a right relationship with Native peoples of Alaska because it will make our work better and because it is the right thing to do. Perseverance Theater honors and respects the culture, traditions, languages, and ways of life of the Alaska Native and all Native Indigenous ancestors, elders, and their descendants, past, present, and future. Ganashish, Hawa, Doyaksin, Chinan, Base. Thank you. I will now be inviting our wonderful, wonderful curators, MC MoHagani Magnetek, Alyssa Quintyne, and Amable Rosa, as well as our wonderful moderator, Joe Narvaez, and I will invite them on now. What an amazing, wonderful group of people, and I'm so excited to hear all the wonderful things they have to say. So, joining us now, thank you so much for being here, everyone, and I will go ahead and pass the baton. Enjoy.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I am so happy to have received an invitation to be here in this Black place, in this Black conversation. It's really valuable for me, not only because it's Black History Month, but it's always nice to be surrounded by other people who are doing incredible things, especially elevating the Black experience here in Alaska. So my name is Joe Malbert Narvaez. I use he and they pronouns, and I am very excited to be here with you all today. So here with me today are Bajan American community organizer and creative, and a very dear friend of mine, Alyssa Quintyne. So welcome, Alyssa. Also with us today is Anchorage-based organizer, our resident Wonder Woman and legend, MoHagani Magnetek. And we also have Amable Rosa, who is our Anchorage-based dancer, actor, performer, and underground ballroom trailblazer. So thank you all so much for being here today. So what did you all say we go ahead and get started? Alyssa, would you like to share a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in BAAM?
Well, I got involved by Rio. Rio, I think is my and many other people's vicarious manager, and they're always just thinking of ways to include me and tell me about things like, oh, there's this going on, you should try that, you should do this. And so I, really was thinking of ways, honestly, to do this, to give back to Black creatives, specifically in Alaska, to give us a space to give us some sort of platform and support and love. And I think we all just kind of got into a conversation because we all had the same, I don't want to say same idea, but same sort of drive. There was something that I think pulled all of us together anyways. So I'm just happy that it did, that the universe knows best and pulled us into this direction because it needs to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's incredibly, as I mentioned, I just love that you all work together to build this space, not only for visibility, but also just for acknowledgement and representation. So thank you. MoHagani, do you want to share a little bit about how you got involved with BAAM?
Yeah, I got involved with BAAM, just wanted to be an artist and answering the call. So I was it early spring sometime of in 2020, or it was the summer. That was a call for for artists. So I was like, boom. So I immediately jumped on it, like said stuff, and then like I think it was probably more than likely it was Irene or whatever who responded back. It's like, yeah, we're doing this, but we don't have any curators for the show. And I was like, look, I got some anthropology skills and stuff, got a few degrees under my belt, and I love art, da 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 da. So I'd be down. So then I find out like about Alyssa and Amable and everything, and we start having our first curator conversations. Just what BAAM is, right? And you can see we coming up with the idea of Black Alaskan Arts Matter. I mean, it's good stuff. We had like great conversations initially, and still continue to have those. Like I'm always like just so like stimulated with talking about art with Alyssa and Amable, and I've grown quite a bit, I know, as an artist. My understanding of art in all forms and mediums, and the way I approach studying art is so much different now than it was before being a curator. So I'm excited. This is our second year with this exhibition, and we're gonna be, black at you, as Amable like to say, with it, and yeah, good stuff. So that's how I'm a part of it. Got to be part of BAAM.
Yeah, awesome. Well, you all produce a wonderful program, so I really appreciate it. All right, Amable, do you want to share a little bit how you got involved with BAAM? Yeah. Don't know if there's a lag in the audio. Let's see. Yeah. Can you hear us, Amable? Can hear us.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I can't hear anything you're saying, guys.
All right, I'm gonna type it into the chat real quick. There we go. Let's see. Hopefully that will get us through. Let's see. All right. Well, yeah, we'll circle back to Amable once we figure out our technical difficulties. All right, but we're moving on. I really wanted to hear a little bit more about this theme, visionary, to give creatives an opportunity to create and share their ideas beyond our current crises and pandemic. So how do you all think this theme sat with the creatives and the audience? And we can go ahead and start with MoHagani.
I think, well, a good way to look at that is look at the responses, to the submissions when, because we asked the artists, like, how did they work fit into this theme of visionary, right? And in an artist statement, which I don't have right now, even though, like, we wrote that, curated the curator statement, but what we was looking for, and we received that and then some, when we was thinking about what visionary is, we was like, we want to do work, with our last exhibition, the first one was like, we establishing ourselves. We talked a bit about the history of Black Alaskan arts and Black artists in Alaska. Well, moving forward, we like, what would this vision to be like? What do we want it to be like? And I remember the conversation, I think Alyssa mentioned something that we don't want to just be surviving. We want to be thriving. This art, it's the composition of making art as well as like, it makes, it generates income for us, it generates recognition and it amplifies Black artists and creators who may have not had the opportunity to do this before. So we want to look ahead, but one of the things that we saw in a lot of the responses from the audience, the artist submissions, is that so much work was like focused on mental health and aloneness and death and grief and everything, and this is what's being reflected 3 years into the pandemic now. And so now we have this work from these artists who brought these emotions into this framework of visionary. And it's like, well, so I don't know. I think overall we get a vision of the world that's definitely more hopeful and that's more compassionate based on the things that we receive from the artists that are participating this year.
Yeah.
I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you so much. Alyssa, can you share your thoughts a little bit?
Yeah, I think I'm, 100% with MoHagani. It was just, it was really illuminating, and I'm just going to make it a word, like very Sildaric, to see, both that recognition and just this, in the grief that we're experiencing, and that in order to be visionary, you have to be in the present. You have to recognize what you have and what you're trying to do in order to plan for what you're going to do. And I think initially when I was thinking about visionary, I was thinking of, what are we going to do past this? What are we going to do after this? And it was a good reality check, from our artists that in order to do that, you have to process what you're going through. You had to go through it in order to get to where you're trying to get to. And so I think that was a very beautiful opportunity and a beautiful reminder that, even though you're going through it, you're going to get through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. We were having some audio difficulties with Amable, but I just want to share Amable messaged us the kind of the answer to the questions that we've already asked. So in regards to how they got involved with BAAM, Amable said, I was reached out by Perseverance after my presence with the Black Lives Matter movement, and then we started making moves and meeting on what we wanted this exhibit to look like. So yeah, thank you so much for that. And definitely the summer of 2020 was something that I think ignited a need and highlighted things that we already knew, but definitely gave us drive to do this at a larger scale. So I really appreciate the work that you all have been doing. So moving on to just another question that I wanted to ask you all, and I know I messaged Amable with the question, and we'll get to hear their thoughts on it. But how have your goals as curators changed now with BAAM being in its second year? And how has BAAM changed in this second year? And then let's move on with Alyssa. Actually, I'll let you think about that a little bit. I want to share Amable's thoughts on how the theme sat with the creatives and the audience. So Amable said, I think the theme was refreshing and challenges the artist in a great way that didn't make them uncomfortable or too stressed. I think the audience ate it up and really appreciated there was a theme that was relatable and hopeful. And thank you so much, Amable, for sharing that. I absolutely agree. It's very hard for us to sit in the, in the oppression and the discrimination and all these histories. And when we talk about Black history, or we talk about the Black experience, that it's not explicitly defined or exclusively defined by our oppression or our experiences due to our race, but there's beauty and power in that. So thank you. So with that, we'll come back to Alyssa and just answering that question. How have our goals and curators changed now with BAAM on its second year?
I think my goals initially have, I don't think they've changed too much, because I think my center is, always thinking about, how are we bringing up Black creatives into communal spaces and fine art spaces and professional spaces and educational spaces. But I really think what has been added to that is, what are leaders already in those spaces doing to, help us with that, recognizing that a lot of the barriers that we as creatives face is because of decisions that they've made, is because of their lack of understanding and lack of accommodation to, the Black experience, to Black art and Black creatives in general. So really this accountability piece that, yes, as a curator can absolutely, do what I can in creating space, but I can't change a museum, I can't change a gallery, I can't change a foundation. And so what are those folks doing? Are they being a part in this bigger conversation, and that's on reparations, that's on that's on land back. Like, what are you giving back, and how are you investing in our art that's, not just monetary, but, what space is being given, what leadership is being given back to, the people who in a lot of different ways started these movements and started these eras, these classical eras in classical art theory that weren't credited. Their art was stolen. What artifacts are being given back to our community? So I think that's really a goal, especially when we are getting approached by, bigger organizations and foundations, of how can I best represent all of this in a way that still, centers the Black creative as, the purpose and the reason. I think in terms of the theme, I don't really think we had a theme the first year we did it. I think we just wanted to do it and get it out there. And I would totally agree that, the theme gave creatives an opportunity to, maybe create pieces or think of their art in a different way that they can share. And I have heard nothing but great things. I think, from our audience, I think we've had a really important impact on the broader community. And especially when I hear, families that are happy that their professional artist son is now being published, in this way, or, just people who did not consider themselves artists, like now understanding, oh yeah, I totally am. And, maybe I should go for this other grant. Maybe I should, do this First Friday. I think that's always going to be the center. That's always, going to be like the thing that proves that what we're trying to do is worth it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. I agree. It's really hard, especially for Black creatives, to find avenues to see themselves as, as successful as I've made it as an artist, as I'm worthy of being seen. And you all created this space, and now they're empowering these artists to continue pursuing their craft. So thank you. I want to share Amable's thoughts on how the goals as curators Let's say, sorry, I'm trying to see. Yeah, how they're how the goals as curators have changed. Amable said, I think that we wanted to get the same energy that we had the first year with less work and just as impressive and cohesiveness that drew the audience to support these artists the first time. Additionally, it reached a lot of other consumers that were not aware of the exhibit the first time around, which is so important. We want to make sure that the audience and the people consuming the art grows and expands so that these artists can get the recognition that they deserve. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. All right. MoHagani, do you want to share your thoughts about how your goal is, or your collective goals as curators have changed now with them being in its second year?
Yeah. Well, I know for me, it's been another taste. More so I'm eating this plate of food now, and it's like so good. I want more. I want to curate more. I want to create space for artists more. And like Alyssa said, this is something I noticed that was different this year than it was last year. Last year, it's like cool. I heard more from people tuning in to BAAM Black Alaskan Arts Matter. This year, I heard a lot more sentiments from the artists themselves about how great it is. They can go and tell their family like, "Yo, look at me! I'm on some art stuff. I'm an artist, right?" And like I was telling like a couple of the artists, in preparing for BAAM, like Desmond, and Tavia and Santana and Sequoia. I was like, "Yo, you all are making art, in your lives, and what you do is art, and believe that, and don't let no one tell you that." But that was the thing, because like so often as Black artists, as Black creatives, like, oh, what you're doing is not art. I had like, actually, a matter of fact, I remember a very, 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 very close friend, personal friend of mine, tried to tell me years ago that because and they was a singer and stuff like this, but my writing wasn't art. They didn't consider me an artist, and it hurts when anyone says that to you. But but it uplifts you so much more when someone believes in the work that you do as art, and they encourage you to do that work and continue to do that work. And like here, because a part of being an artist is displaying your artwork at some point in time, and so to move it to that next level. So to know that here we are, this is what our second year, we had 12, 14 artists last year, 12, 14 this year, 24 artists or something like that, whatever 12 plus 12 is. Anyways, like I said, I got a degree in creative writing, not mathematics. So you do math on that. But over 20 something artists, Black creatives here in Alaska have, I would say maybe out of the 2015, this is their first time being a part of such a thing. And it's statewide and it's big. And as Amable mentioned, BAAM has caught the attention of the nation. People are watching like what's going on in Alaska. It's like, do they have Black art? And we do. And it's like this year has been wonderful. So it just fuels me more, and I look forward to being a curator again in the years to come with BAAM and helping other artists and put out there. So now I need some BAAM business cards or something. So I like out and about. It's like, yo, you need to be on this. You be on it because I'm seeing people now. Like, so it's good stuff, good times.
Yeah, absolutely.
To follow up on that, I don't know of any foundation, museum, gallery, art house that has ever featured, more than 3 Black artists in their entire existence.
Right.
And so the fact that we have been able to not just connect, but exhibit 20 plus in 2 years kind of proves our point that this isn't happening, but that our community is best of taking care of our own. And we do exist, because what do we hear? Oh, there's no Black creatives that are showing. Oh, there is. You just haven't been paying attention.
Yeah. Say it louder for the people in the back.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank y'all so much. All right. So I wanted to see if you all had any highlights from the exhibit this year that you would like to share. And I want to share really quick before I have you all share Amable's thoughts. One of the things that Amable wants to highlight is the amount of new artists that were submitted this year. That this was like the first time that they were submitting something or participating in a project like this, or having the exposure that that was given by Black Alaskan Art Matters, and also like the range of the mediums was very surprising in the bets, like always, like and in the various types of mediums of art. So Amable, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on that. So let's see, MoHagani, what do you think? What are some highlights that you'd like to share about the exhibit this year?
It was a family affair. Like, oh my gosh, like two of the artists, Antavia and her sister. Gosh, it just they're sisters. Then they Tina Bell, then the 11-year-old that was like her niece or grand. It was like a whole family. Like everybody was like participating in this. We got some text messages from one of them not too long ago, but saying how like as the family participated in this art, and they was able to have these conversations and stuff about it and everything. I mean, everybody didn't always share the same names and families, so we didn't know that as curators going into it. But they're going to find out like different people, like all in the same family was all a part of this exhibition. It's some really cool stuff. I would definitely say that's a highlight or whatever. I was like happy to see Desmond Nation involved. This young person went through so much and during 2020 and so many struggles and got into things, but got out of them, right? And now it's like here sharing poetry. I love the dolls. I'm like forever the fan of the dolls by Tavy and Tavia. Sequoia D. Hayes. Sequoia, she be doing it, doing the damn thing. Hayes is what I call it. And then Santana, and Santana's like pieces was like really, really cool, So it was like really nice, saying to see your friends like on it and doing some things. And Jay Biggs, yeah, I had a good time. Jay Biggs is Jay Briggs. Jay Briggs. Good time in that discussion with Jay Briggs. And I would think, lastly, I think a very, very essential highlight to bring up is the conversation with Kyle Williams last week. That was good. We talk about intergenerational struggles, right? We talk about like, where we are in generations, but to have in this art show, I think the youngest artist in this show was 11 years old. And then we have an elder, like Cal, someone who's like, what the Cal said was like born in like 41, came to Alaska in 65, So, we have people here. It's like, yeah, you're only going to find it in one place, I'm saying? At BAAM, Black Alaskan Art Matters. So that's just some beautiful things. And yeah, thank you, Amable. Hopefully Amable will be able to tune in another time. We catch up with Amable next year when we get back at him now. But yeah, it was just a beautiful show this year. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, I was also kind of blown away by the dolls. I was like, oh my gosh, that is like such. I wouldn't have never even like it's inconceivable to me, like the creativity from these artists that was brought up this year. So
yeah, and we have content creators in this exhibit.
Oh, yeah.
And that was something we discussed a lot in the first year. Are content creators artists? Hell yeah, they are. Best believe they are. I mean, there's a whole lot that goes into making a TikTok video. So people should never sell themselves short when they make a TikTok video. Whether it's humorous or whether it's some heavy tones and everything, there's work that goes into that stuff and staging and doing their story writing and storyboarding to get those outcomes. You may not write it down on paper, but it's a lot to take an idea in your mind and like boom and put it to image, give some imagery and motion to it. Yeah, it was a great show.
Yeah, absolutely. Alyssa, what are some of the highlights from this year's exhibition?
Well, MoHagani kind of stole all of mine, so
let's just rave about them anyways.
Right. I think adding on top of that is, especially in these little breaks that we have with these events that are supplementing the exhibit, just the need of vulnerability in our community and being able to share in space with that it's just a really beautiful thing. I had a conversation with some of the visual artists, and we know all the crap that we go through, and just how all of us sit in silence and stuff it down and do what we do anyways to get through our days, and maybe we'll create something here and there and again. And then to be joined in community with folks that have gone through the same thing but see you and hear you. And it is just, it's again illuminating that, the things that what we're doing is important. And it's just how beautiful it is that we can go through all of that to be connected with each other. That was a really big highlight for me, of being able to share in space with other folks who create beautiful things. And we're not looking for fame, we're not looking for millions of dollars, although that would be nice, but not saying someone should not give me $1 million, but I'm just saying that's not what we're doing it for. But we're just wanting to communicate. Art is about communication. It is about connecting with each other. It's about taking care of each other, and being in space with other folks that understand that is a beautiful thing. And being able to be vulnerable with people that we have not necessarily met in person yet, but we've met over a computer screen, and to feel that's, that same amount of beauty and connection that as you would as meeting somebody, your friend, in person, it's just so heartwarming. And it's kind of like the purpose reason of why I create. It was like I was reminded again, oh yeah, this is why I make art. It's not really to hurt people's feelings, or to or to confuse people. It's to connect, it's to communicate, whether someone like understands it or not. It's to communicate. And just the process of being heard and being understood was a very beautiful thing, and it's a very rare thing. And so being able to just hold on to that was a very big highlight for me.
Absolutely. I really appreciate you all's like approaching it that way as well. I think it's very important for us to connect in our own like experiences, as challenging as it may be, but connecting through something as beautiful as art, as honest and as vulnerable is something that just heals the soul in ways that very few other things can. So thank you so much for sharing that. Let's talk about next year. What's in store for us? What can we expect? MoHagani, do you want to share your thoughts?
Yeah, it's too soon to share thoughts about next year. Honestly, for me, it's just daily practice, just being in the moment, one day at a time, right? We know BAAM is going to happen next year, no doubt about that. We know we're going to have some more dynamic artists coming from all out over the states. So we know we're going to have some fresh things because we're fresh like that, period. So, yeah, we know those things are happening. What that's going to look like, what the theme, is, if we decide to go with a theme or not. Hopefully next year, because I think we was close to pulling off this year, having some in-person events. We was close this year. And we had thought about it in our planning, but it's like, well, we just wait till February to get here and see what's going on with the pandemic. And so when February get here, and it's like, oh man, maybe not. Some things have to be canceled around. So hopefully next year, that would be, I would think, a very, very big extension to have. That would be a very beautiful thing to see, is that we get to see and experience BAAM in person. That's probably be the name of it, BAAM, in your face.
Absolutely.
That'd be the theme. Like, we in your face for real, mask off. Let's do this. So that would be definitely something to look forward to. And I know, like, if we can open that door, we can open a dimension to what BAAM is. Like, virtual is cool, but it's important that when people are interacting, engaging with art, they're able to step into an image, on the wall, or photograph, So Alyssa got some amazing art, and I don't think I've ever seen any in real life, in real life before. But to be able to step into that work, you see that art on the wall, like, and you can experience it, or you're listening to poets or to some of the performance artists, so you can hear, see, taste, smell everything that's going on. And I hope next year, because this year we had we had some hair and makeup, so I'm hoping next year we bring some culinary arts into the mix and stuff too, because like for us, for Africans, African Americans, throughout the diaspora, food is art. And there's a whole lot that goes into food. Check out my little wine thing I got going on with the strawberries and the basil. It don't get no prettier than that.
That's art.
Yeah. Bay hooked that up. You know what I'm saying? Bay over here making art. So it's like everything. So we want to see that. I hope to see some of those things next year. And that's all I can think of at this moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know Alyssa said it earlier, but like if you're in the audience and you have $1 million you want to donate to BAAM exhibit next year so we can have multiple exhibits.
Yeah. Cash out me right now. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. All right, Alyssa, what are some of your ideas for next year?
I think yes. 100% BAAM in person. I love BAAM mask off. I love that. I think of, something that people can take from BAAM home. And, I think of whether that is we're helping artists like make prints or make, collectibles of, stuff like that, and helping them build their their brands. I brand is not the right word, but build up in that way. Or if there's BAAM merch that we come up with, and just something that people can take, whether they are part of BAAM in the exhibits or they're our fans, our band fams. Something that they can hold on to. I think about how we invest. So how it's like, what do we need to just like, I don't think we want to become a nonprofit, but like, how do we pool money to then be giving to artists that, are part of the exhibit, so that we can continue to build our community and build the space for other artists in the future. It's very like high level, very like in behind the scenes administrative stuff. But it is stuff that I think about because we can only sustain so much, and Perseverance Theater has been so gracious in sharing their website and sharing their social media during a huge production that they're already putting on. And we're grateful for that, and I kind of look at BAAM as this very toddler. It's starting to walk now, and we as curators, we haven't really talked about how we're going to parent this child. So I think about how are we going to parent this baby that's growing? Like, how are we going to make sure that the first steps it really starts taking into the fine art world is already exactly what they need to be. They're not like tumbling over and falling on their face. We're stepping in, and we're stepping into the space the right way, and we're stepping in with a whole bunch of folks that are stepping in with us. And how do we do that? How do we build communally? How do we build monetarily? How do we build a reputation and a name for ourselves that brings our partners and our artists with us? So of course I'm thinking merch, but I'm thinking, how do we structure ourselves? And how do we delineate ourselves and make it clear that this is Black Alaskan Art Matters and not people of color, and not this how do we make it non-competitional? Because we get questions sometimes in terms of, well, what about other communities of color? What about other marginalizations? What are we doing, for those artists? And while I think that is like a 100% valid concern to have, we as a Black community, we can't save and we can't do things for other communities that we're not a part of. You know what I mean? It's like we would not go to another community and say, "What are you doing for Black artists?" Kind of look at us, be like, "I don't think I can do anything for Black artists because I'm not Black." So, you know, we kind of have to look at it this way. And, you know, I can kind of already see that when we step into that fine arts world, they are already going to ask of like, "Well, what are you doing for other color, you know, artists of color?" And, you know, I think I really envision BAM being in a position where we can partner and we can, you know, and we can help uplift other artists of color, but we certainly cannot be the center, you know, for other artists that we don't belong in, are not in community or part of their community. But we absolutely can be a bridge. We absolutely can be, you know, a friend. And so how do we pour into our own selves so we have the strongest structure to do that? Is really what I'm thinking of, and really wanting to buffer and, you know, do the grimy work on the inside so the outside looks fresh, neat, correct, beautiful, gorgeous, lovely.
Yeah, absolutely. I am so excited to see what's in store for BAM in the next year and in the years to come. I am sure that it's going to be something that's gonna be a mainstay for sure. I see it as a way for our community to have a voice in a space that, you know, has not always been built for us. But, you know, as I tell Alyssa, it's like if we don't have a space built for us, we'll build it ourselves, and that's exactly what you all have done. So thank you all so much for sharing this space with me. I do want to share Amable's last thoughts. Amable says, I just want to say thank you to all the artists who submitted to the exhibit, and thank you to the other lovely curators and Perseverance Theater for another successful year. And I can't wait to see what happens next year. So I want to, again, thank you all so much for having me today and for allowing me to share this space and just hear the behind the scenes of what it takes to be a curator for the Black Alaskan Art Matters. For those who are viewing this video or the recording for this, if you have not seen the exhibit, I really encourage you to go to the Perseverance Theater website. Under their menu, you'll be able to find the Black Alaskan Art Matters exhibit. Just scroll down, you get to see everything in there. You will have information there on how you can support these artists as well, monetarily or otherwise. So please support the artists, support the art, and support these amazing curators. Do you, MoHagani or Alyssa, have any last thoughts you want to share with our audience?
Oh yeah, Alyssa and I got some art and some poetry to share with y'all.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Yeah. Before we cash out, Alyssa, do you want to go first?
Oh, it would help if I'm not muted.
Yeah, it would.
That would. So I do have, you know, just a quick little thing. Irene, I'm not sure if you have the link, but I can put the link in the chat again. But technically last year, I kind of think of it this year because it was just it was like less than 2 months ago. After 6 long years, I was able to go back home to Barbados and visit family over the holidays. And of course, I had some paper and some watercolors, and I was able to make 3 pieces while I was there, which seems like not a lot to me because I'm very much a person that just like sits on the floor and just dishes out 12 pieces in like the course of 3 days. So it was really beautiful time to sort of take things slow. And yeah, you can share the pieces now, but I made 3 pieces that were inspired by the plants and the people and the predicaments of what folks were going through in Barbados. And, you know, that includes mental health, just like we are struggling through the pandemic here. So are folks in Barbados. And, you know, just seeing, you know, such a vibrant country and people not be as vibrant, not being able to be as vibrant was something I had to get used to. But again, in order to he's like, even though you're going through it, you're going to get through it. And it was just another reminder of that. Also dealing with a lot of not great political things happening. There was a huge election that was happening right when we had came down. And there was also a huge security breach that happened, and the government kind of, they tried to say that it was perfectly fine and that it happens all the time and the United States does it all the time. And I was right. And I said I wasn't going to go down there and work. And here I was on the radio station's WhatsApp, like, I'm from America and that's not what happens. And this, that, and the third. And, trying to get my other friends in the country to also respond to what was happening. And I'm like, here I am working again. But it was important. And so it inspired these 3 pieces from what was going on. And I'm not sure if we can see it. Can you see it?
No, we can. I know the comment, like the link to the comments, or the link to the Gouge Body website is on the comments. But Irene, do you think we can share our screen with that link? Yeah, there we go. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks. Yeah. So those are the 3 pieces there, and essentially, of course, I always have to think of, well, what can I do with this that's a little bit bigger than here's art that you can buy that's pretty. One of my friends who is currently on the country is trying to sort of build up their organization that's called Anchor Bridge Environmental. And what they do, one of the pieces that this is inspired of is that Barbados is and has been in a water crisis for decades, but it's, exacerbating over the years. And there are folks in St. Lucie and Christchurch all over that are experiencing water shortages and poor water quality. As in, the water is brown. When you drink it, you feel sick. When it's on your skin, it burns you. It stains your clothes. And a lot of people experience just their water pressure just going off and not being able to get water for days. The water authority not telling them that they're going to shut their water off, not knowing where they can get water. It is kind of messy, and it was a huge issue during the election of, what are the different parties going to do to address this issue? What is it really going on? Is it a fact of water allocation, or is it the water plumbing? Is it the systems within homes? Like, what is the issue? And just Bajans just not knowing what's going on. So I created a fundraiser. So folks can buy one of these pieces, or they can buy all 3, or they can buy whatever, or they can donate, specifically to Anchor Bridge Environmental, and I would send them the print of their choice. So if any of these pieces speak to you, there is BIM that is on my left, maybe your right, however it's formatted. That's about mental health. We have Eve in the middle that depicts political disruption and dysfunction. And then we have When Water Comes on the right, which is depicting the water crisis. So if any of these pieces speak to you, you can buy it directly at my shop, and all the proceeds will go directly to Anchor Bridge Environmental. Or if you make a donation to Anchor Bridge and you send me the receipt, I'll send you a print. Well, that's pretty much what I have to share. And thanks in advance for folks that get one of these lovely ladies. Thanks for supporting my home and my friends that are doing what we do best and taking care of our own, and providing the resources that, our leaders can't. So thank you.
Thanks, Alyssa. Yeah, absolutely. If you would like to support Alyssa, the links are in the comments to go to the website and order these prints and support Anchor Environmental. So check it out. All right, MoHagani, you're up next. What do you got for us?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to say how Alyssa uses her powers for good. She already doing fundraisers with her artwork and everything. And I was doing some poetry last night to raise funds for the kids to go to school, learn some stuff. But nevertheless, she uses her powers for good. And I'm like, I don't know what to share. I was like, I have a piece that I just wrote last week, but I'm not comfortable enough yet with reading it out loud off the phone. But I have another piece. This is a fan favorite here. And I figured this would be a good little short flash fiction to share, because I know I'm often sharing poetry all the time, but seldom do I share like my flash fiction, my short stories, and sure don't get opportunities to share the longer works, the novels. But this one here I wrote back around 2017, 18. And I mean, I'm just gonna get into it or whatever, because it's, there's a ninja living in my apartment building. And this is based on some real shit. There's a ninja living in my apartment building I see taking the elevator sometimes. The first time I talked to him, he remained hidden behind his face mask and glasses. He looked up from his cell phone and flicked his silky black hair when I pointed out how the two black swords on his hip and his all black getup was so damn cool. I couldn't understand what he was saying, but I prayed to God that I may have a ninja for a friend. I would be the happiest girl alive. I would take my ninja friend with me everywhere and dare mother uppers to look at me wrong. My ninja friend and I would be playing Shinobi all night, binge watching Afro Samurai, and dropping disappearing smoke bombs whenever it's time to exit the scene. Forgive me for fantasizing, but I want to see him again and ask if he would be my cosplay date for SenchiCon in October. Although I get the picture, there's no play in his act. He's a real ninja. I asked my Facebook friends, how do I leave a message for a ninja that lives in my apartment building? Should I post a scroll over the mailbox? Then what do I say? Hey, Mr. Ninja Man, I want you on my team. When you by my side, no one will ever mess with me again. I'll pay you in chocolate gold coins. Magnetic. I wondered if I should leave my phone number, email on X marks the spot to map to my apartment on aged parchment paper. I crossed paths with my warrior of the night again yesterday during the day. That weird, stupid, silly shit of him slicing his black plastic sword through the air to non-existent enemy turned me on like a bright idea. In the apartment building lobby, I managed to find the only shadows to show him some of my own logistic quarters offensive tactics. This midnight assassin felt my magnetic energy surge through all 206 of his bones. I ravished his slim body as if it was an 80s Saturday martial arts movie matinee playground after party with high-flying kicks to the throat, crying kids and everything. Our passionate tangle and tussle was not at all fazed by neighbors walking through the lobby. We were in the shadows, and I kicked off my heels into the light. Then he kissed me, awkwardly, as if he had never kissed a woman before. He missed kissing my juicy lips again, prompting me to step back and ask, how old are you? Now, I don't look, my age, so he assumed we were the same generation and didn't mind uttering some ungodly, awful words to me. I stepped back to myself and said, OMG, my apartment ninja warrior, though legal, is 20 years younger than me. I could be his mother. I would never let my child grow up to be a ninja. It's too dangerous, especially with cougars like me pussyfooting around the terrain.
Thank you so much
Yeah,
for sharing.
Yeah,
I can definitely see why it's a fan favorite. It's amazing.
Yeah, it totally is. Every time, I be at the writer's block, at the bookstore or something, sharing poetry, sharing a short story. So, read the Apartment Ninja, Mo. But it's based on some real shit, though. I mean, that was a person that lived around me and everything. And I tell my friends like that, they believe me. They would come over and visit, like, yo, MoHagani is like a ninja that lives in your apartment building. I say, I know. That's what I'm trying to tell everyone. But no one believes me. So I was like, I started writing, and the ninja became a thing. Went on to become a major character in my novel, my thesis novel when I got my MFA, The Mad Fantastic 2098. So it's just full of ninjas and ninja stories. I mean, I like stuff like that, So I did my best to incorporate things like that in my writing. It's real world experiences, but the way I view world, everything is like hyper, it's sensational, and then it's like, yeah, what if it went this way or this became that? So it becomes that in this writing. And this is a fun piece. I love it and everything. And So other than it being a story, I actually have a little song, whatever. It got like tracks and everything. It's like, yeah, one too many ninjas with no kung fu. One too many ninjas don't know what to do. One too many ninjas with the anti-rap. One too many ninjas deserve a big slap. One too many ninjas show their too damn colors. One too many ninjas are some simple mother lovers. One too many ninjas died and regret it. Passing the mic to Ultra Magnetic. Oh,
what's up? Oh, amazing as
yeah,
always.
good stuff.
For sure. All right. Well, thank you all so much. I think we are coming close on our time. But if you all want to support and view the exhibit, you can see the link right at the bottom of the screen right here. It's ptalaska.org/BAAM-visionary. Check it out. You will not be disappointed. In fact, you will be blown away. So thank you all so much for having us. Thank you, Alyssa. Thank you, MoHagani. And thank you, Amable. I know Amable had to leave earlier because we were having some technical, but definitely appreciate Amable's work in all of this. So yeah, thank you all so much and have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you. See y'all next year.